Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. Deal with sexual shame. Y'all know when I do these podcasts, I can be in a joking mood or I'm laughing or whatever or cursing. But this is a serious matter right here because anybody who's followed my work know my emphasis is on developing sex appeal for as far as the thing of man gets women. Everything when I talk about body game, that's sex appeal, having charisma, sex appeal, masculinity, sex appeal. And that's for men gets women. Of course, I also talk about sovereignty, but that's just sovereignty in general in life. But when we're talking about man gets women, one of the things that really hurts many men is sexual shame. They're not comfortable with their sex drive. There's myriad reasons for that. It could have been they grew up in a conservative religious environment where it suggested sex was wrong except in the context of marriage. That could be an issue. And there's a lot of guys who dealt with that. They feel like they're sinning if they even think about sex outside of marriage. Seriously. And, it's a big argument. I mean, I'm of the school that no, it's not wrong at all. It's natural. But other people might be the same thing. But it could cause a problem. I've met men. I've had men talk to me, and they'll say, I felt like I was wrong just because I was looking at that woman's body. I was like, no, that's normal, man. See, the real issue with that is there's nothing wrong with having sexual feelings. That's normal. It's just a matter of what you do to express it. But because a lot of people suppress it. So they'll suppress it on that level. You have, unfortunately, many men who've been sexually molested. There's not enough discussion about that. We always talk about the young girls who've been molested. And we should talk about it. It is a crime. It's a crime against nature. But many young men have been molested. And let's be clear, they haven't just been molested by men. Some have. But there are many young men who can point to a situation where an older cousin, a babysitter, unfortunately, sadly, maybe even their own mothers have molested them, even had sex with them. Like there was a famous comedian, DeRay Davis. He was talking about when he was 11, made to have oral sex with these two women in their 30s. I'm going to just say this straight up. Both of them should be shot and killed. Seriously. I mean, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. Thankfully, I was able to avoid that. And let's just say there was a woman around who was a little extra friendly. And that was one of the things. And now, I've talked before about some issues in childhood, but particularly with mommy. But she didn't do anything. She didn't do anything. There were other issues she had. But one thing, she almost killed this woman. I'm just going to be real with you. She went hard at that woman. But somebody else might not be as lucky. Like the famous comedian, Tyler Perry, he said he went through it. So, he went through some stuff with women. And I'm just saying that, and that's one. And that's really another conversation in itself. But that can cause sexual shame. It could just be a situation where somebody their first time having sex and they dealt with the wrong type of woman. Like somebody's mean, like, oh, your dick ain't that big or something like that. Like the first time. Or you don't know what you're doing. Well, it's his first time. Like I said, it could be many, many things. That is key to understand. All right? That's the key to understanding. So the thing someone has to do before if they really want to develop their sex appeal, they got to deal with that shame. And I'm going to be real. Dealing with that shame goes beyond just getting a woman. There's a big connection how a man moves through life and his comfort with himself sexually. It's a big thing. Because I've talked about sex transmutation before. I've talked about sex transmutation. Basically taking that sexual energy and putting it into a project, transmuting it into a project, because it was talked about in Napoleon Hill's landmark book, Think and Grow Rich. And it's a real thing. It's something I practice, sex transmutation. Instead of like chasing a woman down, the same energy you put into that, just use it and work on a project or something. It's the exact same thing. Because when a man's truly turned on by a woman, shoot, he got that energy. He get brave. He can have all of a sudden he could be a stutterer, and all of a sudden he can talk very articulate when he get in that woman's presence. I mean, seriously, it's a powerful thing. And the thing is, what is that sex? What is that sexual energy coming from? It's coming from his testosterone. But if he has any shame or he's repressing it, he don't have it. That's the energy of man right there. So it's bigger than just getting women. It's just being able to have that sovereignty in life to move through life. But you got to deal with that shame first. And look, let me be very clear. Because I've had some people hit me up sometimes, and I've told them straight up, get a therapist. That's the main thing. Seriously, I can't emphasize that enough because it's deep. Get a therapist. Talk to a religious leader, a spiritual leader, something. Deal with it because it affects you in so many other ways. Like I say, it goes beyond even getting a woman. And even in, if we go back just to the woman part, let's be real. There's always, we don't talk enough about how women cheat. We really don't. We don't talk about that, and the primary reason they cheat is sex. Many men have lost out in relationships or been cuckolded, cheated, or even been a victim of paternity fraud just because the woman's not turned on by it. Sex is when you're talking about a relationship, sex is a part of it. You can't get past that. You cannot get past it. It plays a major role. If you want a strong relationship, the sex life got to be there. But if you have that sexual shame, you don't give off that sexual energy, the woman might not want you. And if she do want you for other reasons, or she just happen to be sexually repressed herself, yeah, maybe. But there's something missing. There's something missing from the relationship that could cause trouble later on. So it's a powerful thing. And let me just be clear. It ain't about getting a bunch of women. It's just being able to function normally. Just function, period. This ain't saying you got to run out and be a player. You can be totally monogamous. You just want that one woman, but you still need to have a healthy sex drive with her. You still need to have a healthy sex drive just to live in life. Remember, testosterone, that sex drive is energy. Dude, that's what makes a man a man. That's what gives him the will, the power, the fuel to do the things he got to do to build his empire, to build his business. But the thing is with shame, that emotion of shame, that feeling of shame, it suppresses your testosterone. And because one of the things people have to realize, there is a mind-body connection, Because, I talk body game. A man ain't going to want to, if he got that shame subconsciously, he ain't going to want to build his body because it will draw women to him in a sexual manner, And that's especially the case if he was molested by women as a child. Subconsciously, he might feel like, well, if I get that body or I look a certain way, I'm gonna have that same thing repeat. That's why I say therapy, especially for men who've been molested. It's a major thing. It has to be dealt with. I probably need to do something on that. Actually, if I did something on that molestation piece, I would actually do a Zoom interview or something with a licensed therapist or professional. That's how deep it is. I wouldn't just want to give them just my opinion. I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm a writer, and I have a lot of knowledge of stuff. But that's how deep it is. But that's, like I said, that's a separate thing. But that does lend itself to sexual shame, which is the subject of this particular podcast. So whatever the case, whatever you have to do, deal with that. And look, I'm gonna put it like this. I'm going to reiterate. I'm going to emphasize strongly. It's not just about getting women. It's just about living your healthiest self. It's about living life at your best, all right? So deal with that sexual shame. So that's all I have for today, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.